Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 584th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is David Farrar, and I'm the Provost and Vice President Academic of McMaster University. This afternoon, I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremony and of welcoming all of you to this convocation ceremony. I would like to start by recognizing and acknowledging that we meet today on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and the Haudenosaunee nations, within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge a number of leaders who are joining me on stage. In the middle of the stage is our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, and to her right is our President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Patrick Dean. On her left is the Vice President, University Advancement, Ms. Mary Williams, the Associate Vice President, Institutional Analysis and Relations and Research, Dr. J.C. Lee, and the Dean of the DeGroote School of Business, Dr. Leonard Waverman. We're also joined on stage by associate deans, directors, chairs, faculty members, and honored guests. Before we start the formal ceremony, I would ask everyone to take a minute and to switch off any electronic devices that may beep or ring during the ceremony. And I would now like to call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, to present her welcoming remarks.
Welcome, honored guests, staff, faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting day for all of you who are graduating today, as well as for all those people who have supported you and stood behind you, and in many cases have had a key role in you being here today. You've achieved a great deal to get here, and you should all be very proud of your success and looking forward to what the future might bring. Congratulations, and enjoy the ceremony.
I would now like to introduce the Dean of the DeGroote School of Business, Dr. Leonard Waverman, who will deliver the Dean's address.
Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon. That's not bad. Can we do it a little more McMaster way? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Excellent. First, I think you, the graduates, should give yourselves a great round of applause. You've earned it. You've earned your degrees. At times, it wasn't easy. Remember your first day here? Whatever your program, some of you felt, how did I get in? Everyone looks smarter than me. I certainly thought that when I went to graduate school. But here you are today, successful at DeGroote and McMaster graduate, about to enter your next journey. We, our faculty, so colorfully dressed on the stage, our staff, our provost, president, and chancellor, we have guided and taught you, and we are all very proud of you. Now, a really great round of applause for all those who helped get you here today, parents, significant others, children who put up with your working, complaining all these years. Let's thank them. So today you're all leaving with graduate degrees from DeGroote School of Business and McMaster. Ph.D., Master of Business Administration, Master of Finance, Master of Health Management, Master of Science. Now I've been around for a few years. I didn't like that laughter at all, sir. And I've learned, I've tried to learn over those years. When I was in grade school, before many of these people were born, we were taught the 3 R's. Some of you may remember what those were: reading, writing, and arithmetic. We couldn't spell, but... So what I want to talk about today are the modern 3 R's that I think define who you are and what you will need to grow in the future. These 3 are resilience, respect, and reputation. Michael G. DeGroote, who named the school in 1992, immigrant from Netherlands, began by shoveling and delivering manure from the dairy farms to tobacco fields, age 15, no license. By 21, he was bankrupt because he tried to expand too fast. By the age of 29, he paid back every penny, and he was the biggest trucking firm in Ontario. That's resilience. Richard Branson defines resilience this way: you didn't learn to walk by following the rules. You learned to walk by doing and falling down. That's how we all learned to ride the bicycle. So the key is the ability to learn from your mistakes. And you will make mistakes. I certainly have over the years. And my management mantra is simple. I try not to make the same mistakes twice. I just make new ones. Life will present you with a series of opportunities and challenges to learn from others, from experiences, and most of all, from yourself. Stand up, fall down, take your punches, and keep going. Accept these lessons with humility and grace. They will form the foundation of your strength as a human being. That's your resilience. Respect. Respect begins with yourself. You need self-confidence and self-compassion. When you make mistakes, don't beat yourself up. As my wife says, she's a clinical psychologist, trust yourself as you would trust a best friend. Now, making it in academia with those with a Ph.D. at a startup, or making it at CIBC, means respecting all your coworkers, your boss, all stakeholders, even the dean. How you treat others is always remembered. These recent years have seen far too little respect in the workforce for gender, for different nationalities marooned on boats in open seas, even 2 days ago from President of the United States for allies. This is not what we teach at DeGroote or McMaster. As our graduates with our name, we expect you to live with respect, and you'll be much better for it. Reputation. Warren Buffett has said it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. Each one of us earns their reputation through their actions, and reputation can be easily lost. It's a very slippery slope. Once you start to think, well, this one action, that really won't hurt, you're done. Because the next time it becomes easier and easier to skate and to do the wrong thing. And before you know it, your reputation is lost. Remember, you can lose money and make it again. Once you lose your reputation, you can't get that back. So choose wisely all your actions. Speak only words that have the power to build, not destroy. Build people, ideas, society. Determine for yourself what others will believe of you. And know that the 3 R's, resilience, respect, reputation, is a promise that precedes you. Thanks.
Dr. Patrick Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Madam Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates and those in absentia in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees at McMaster University, with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you to the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduates, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Jennifer Meal. That's it. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree of Master of Business Administration. Ryan Ahmed. Francis An. Guadalupe Antillon. Saad Asif. Brian Ban. Lynn Bao. David John Barr. Manan Bassi. Manish Bhusal. Ellen Brandt. Jesse Brunt. Jeremy Pudi. Michael Sibo. Tathagat Shakra Porti. William Chan. Trish Shatterpaul. Ellen Chen. Harleen Shuker. Max Clark. Tudor Komsa. Nicholas Copland. Andrew Jean Corso. Cassidy Rose Davis. Emily C. Damon. Sushani De Silva. Mandy Dilwal. Amit Donta. Amardeep Kaur Dillon. Jagwinder Dillon. Marisa Yvonne Douglas. Ryan Clyde Downey. Sitanshu Dubey. Aaron Dunham. Shankaya Dutt. Nadia Iqbali. Tara Marie French. Aaron Jerome Gaudet. Harjavardhan Santosh Gaur. Sukhraj Singh Gill. Amy Gorth. David Griffin. Michelle Lauren Holstra. Susan Millicent McGee Hartcon. Ibsar Hashimi. Rebecca Nalenthi Hensman. Nat Tan Wong. Bryce Hudson. Tracy Hoyne. Lauren Alicia Lantomasi. Michelle Nicole Latomasi. Omar Iqbal. Daniel Jabrayan. Emily Rachel Johnston. Pratik Kambosh. Tranvir Kaur. Pavilos Kasminas. Brett Michael King. Kerem Koljuolu. Shayamira Kogaraja. Kunal Lachman Das. Margaret Larocque. Jiffy Lee. Nicole Natasha Lobo. Alina Lukish. Chantal Nicole Mania. Kim Ruoti Marira. Navneet Kaur Makar. Peter Malazovich. Stephen Massey. Zabina Miro. Ian Meisrich. Kart Misra. Kanika Mohan. Fazl Molana. Michelle Munister. James Alexander Morrison. Daniel Mullins. Benjamin James Murat. John Matthew Murphy. Kim An Nguyen. Tan Tong Nguyen. T. Dan Win. Hafsa Noor. Inhyuk O. Karanjit Pabla. Hitesh Patel. Kunji Prakash Patel. Brianna Peterson. Kevin Joaquim Pinto. Okay, James Daniel Plewak. Okay. Andrew Michael Price. Noel Christopher Punnett. Hassan Rana. Ritesh Ranjan. Brittany Marie Raboso. Gaurav Rastogi. Huma Rahman. Joshua Simplicio Rodriguez. Firishta Sahibzada. Ankit Saigal. Melanie Isabella Silvadori. Nishit Hasmukh Shah. Dhruv Sharma. Megan Shukar. Jennifer Lynn Siem. Corey Sanders Silva. Alexandra Snyder. Nicholas Richard Skolowski. Nicholas Tyler Somos. Holly Ann Stahitsky. Jacob Steen. Felicia Jade Stone. Morning Sun. Prisana Tonshia Watana. Tibithias Thiva. Alexandra Todek. Nicola Todek. Chad Tobley. Priya Tagnet. Tanya Ajith. Daniel Van Veen. Nicholas Venditti. Rebecca Vetisi. Ying Wan. Yiyu Wang. Matthew Hayden Ward. Lauren Miggins Wazaleski. Kelly Scott White. Matthew Paul Whiskey. Matthew Paul Whiskey. Hanlu Ji. Xiaolin Shi. Xuanhui Xu. Feng Yao. Imo Yuan. Michael Zablocki. Xinyu Zheng. Jiaming Zhao. Xing Yuan Zheng. Liujing Zhao. Jianmin Zhu. Candice Amy Zwick. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Finance. Xinyu Bai. Xinying Bao. Minmin Bo. Kangli Chen. Qianyuan Chen. Melissa Kelly Chi Kam Chun. Yi Deng. Ching Chin Hu. Oh. Huaneng Jia. Jiaxin Jiang. Ye Yao Kong. Man Li. Mingyang Li. Mingyu Li. Zibeng Liu. Shanhua Lua. Laxi Ruan. Huishan Wang. Xiao Wang. Xu Wang. Xiaowei Wang. Zhanye Yang. Zhonye Yi. Siyu Yuan. Yating Zheng. Yihui Zheng. Zhaoyu Zheng. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Linda An. Fiben Asifa. Tanya Marie Bishop. Tanya Marie Bishop. Andre Kevin Bowen. Misa Gail Canave. Catherine Duncan. Paula Lynn Fields. Nadine Jensen. Naga Sobanth Kalidos. Kathleen Ann Kennedy. Manpreet Kara. Boyan Kovic. Melanie Dawn Lazarus. Laurel Ann LeConte. Karen Ann Malanchuk. Avelino Palma Marnan Jr. Kelly Elizabeth McRae. Corinne McTaggart. Andra Luana Millet. Gillian Emily Marie Nering. Carolyn Elizabeth Parker. Noelle Nicole Patton. Beverly Janice Pond. Jody Lynn Powell. Jody Lynn Powell. Amy Prue. Cameron McDonald Renwick. Holly Smith. Melanie Stevens. Leanne Marie Tyler. Judith Van Ness. Jeremy Patrick Robert Watts. Okay, we'll make the correction. So just to make a correction, the graduates that went through were for the Master of Health Management. We'll now do the Master of Science e-Health. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Dana Abu Jazar. Ramisha Bisharat. Hao Din. Michelle Ferdrabar. Iman Hassan. Sofia Kadadin. Yasser Khalid. Arik Liberman. Agatha Alexandra Misura. Zainab Naimbur. Shakuma Shibuzo Okarike. Joseph Bita Oya. Kumal Prajapati. Lisa Margaret Sawada. Shivina Vinodini Sukar. Nadia Yazdon Ushuri.
Let's give one more round of applause for all our newest graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce Mr. Kelly White, a graduate of the degree Master of Business Administration, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to my nominators and the selection committee for choosing me to be the class of 2018 valedictorian. It truly is an honor, and I'm very grateful for this recognition. I'd like to recognize and thank those up on stage with me, including our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, President Vice Chancellor, Dr. Patrick Dean, and Dr. David Farrar, our Provost. Without them and the support of far too many other staff and faculty to name, none of us would be here right now. And on that note, congratulations, we did it. Every single one of you is sitting in your seat because you put in the work and persevered through it all. Through the late nights, the study groups, frantic confirmation of facts right before exams, the case reports, and the PowerPoint decks. I won't say that they're over, just that now hopefully we'll all be getting paid to do them instead of the other way around. As we all enter the workforce, we will soon realize that the real group project is just getting started. With the next stage of our lives in mind, I want to quickly share 3 pieces of advice that helped me get through the last 2 years of my life and my MBA, and have been a great help in my career and personal life so far. I hope that you'll find them useful as well. The first, be a mentor and a mentee. DeGroote has an amazing network that will only ever be as strong as the relationships between its members, and that extends to McMaster as a whole. I'm sure all of us can think of someone in our lives who has been a guiding force, a font of advice and wisdom, and keep seeking those people out wherever you are and learning from them. But also make sure to be that person for someone else, not only to pay it forward, but selfishly. It will teach you things about yourself. Life is full of interesting people waiting to tell their story if you can just go out and ask them for it. Grow your professional network, certainly, but foster your personal connections as well, as there can be no replacement for amazing mentors or friends. Second, control the controllables. The president of PepsiCo Beverages spoke about this at a town hall while I was on my very first co-op, and it has always stuck with me. He spoke primarily about efficiencies and productivity, but he stressed that it's a perspective that is applicable to almost every facet of life. Life tends to throw a lot at us, often all at once, but in order to meet it head-on and move through those tough times, you can't worry about the fear of things outside of your control, and you can't let that fear control you. Of course, this is easier said than done, but it is a helpful perspective to keep you grounded as you prepare to face life's challenges. And last, be curious. As we progress in our careers, it's easy to become hyper-focused in our domains and industries. None of us today are Masters of Stock Options Pricing graduates or Masters of Organizational Change graduates. My fellow colleagues are Masters of Business Administration along with the other graduates up here in their respective degrees, and that means we will all excel when we can integrate and understand many different sides of a problem, no matter the size of it. In your life and your career, be curious forever. Don't stop asking questions and seek further understanding of every person you meet and work with. At the end of the day, relationships are truly at the center of communities, and DeGroote and McMaster are no exception. While all of us will walk away with 3 letters, the people we are today are direct reflections of the people that surrounded us as we grew. Family and friends, teachers and professors, employers, and peers. Our experience at this school and in this program was multidimensional and has helped each of us grow in a different way. I want to thank all of the friends that are in the audience, mine and yours. You were in the thick of it with us, and we all made it together. Lastly, on behalf of my classmates and fellow graduates, I want to extend a massive thank you to all of the family in the room, blood-related and otherwise. Without my family, I wouldn't have started on this journey, and I wouldn't have been supported throughout. To those who are with us today in this hall, and to those who we wish could be here, you have our humble and eternal gratitude. With your love and support, you have enabled a room full of tomorrow's leaders, and we're a great-looking bunch. We can't wait to show you what we still have yet to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. May I now introduce Tej Sandhu, a graduate from the Bachelor of Commerce class of 2010 and a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Tej will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Hey there, everybody. In 2010, I had the honor of graduating from the DeGroote School of Business. Last year, I had the honor of opening Merit Brewing on James Street North right here in downtown Hamilton, and today I have the honor of being here with you. Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, award winners, honorees, McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, guests, and especially members of the McMaster class of 2018. If Convocation could talk, it might tell you, your life is changing. So come take part in this ancient ritual while parents take pictures of you wearing borrowed gowns. Crossing the stage marks one of the most significant changes in your life. You are moving from a career as a student to a career as a professional, or from being an undergraduate student to being a graduate student, or maybe you're going to trade the goals and routines of university for something more free-form and personal. I'm still not sure which category opening a brewery fits in, but we'll work on that. We all experience the graduation transition in our own way. No doubt, many more transitions are ahead of you as you move through the stages of your life. What won't change is that your experience earning your degree will always be a part of you, and you will always be part of this community here. At times, that connection will feel strong, and others, it will take a backseat gracefully to other priorities. But when you want to turn that lifelong relationship into an activity, a social media connection, volunteering, or any of a dozen other kinds of opportunities, the McMaster Alumni Association will be there for you. That's our job. You can read about your alma mater, your fellow alumni and classmates in MAC, the news magazine for alumni, either in print or digitally, or through our monthly e-newsletter, Maroon Mail. If you can be part of the MAC alumni communities on social media, and if you really like sharing news and bragging to your friends about great things happening at McMaster, join our team of social ambassadors called Social Marauders, and we'll thank you with some great little swag. If you're staying in the area, which I hope many of you do, I'd encourage you to participate in MAC 10 events. The series of events and services includes career assistance, mentoring, and online and in-person networking, and great socials designed specifically for new grads like you. And if you're sticking around in Hamilton, please come by Merit for a beer sometime. If you find yourself living far from McMaster, keep an eye out on the events calendar as we do try to make our way to all corners of the globe from time to time. When you leave here today, I know it's likely that nothing I've just said will stick with you, and that's fine. The association has just sent you an email with a fun little quiz reflecting on your university years. When you do that quiz, take a moment and look around the website, and I'm guessing you'll be surprised at how much is available to you now as a new grad and throughout your life. So whenever it is that you're ready to connect, we'll be here. Members of the class of 2018, my sincerest congratulations on your convocation and welcome to the McMaster Alumni Association. We're very proud indeed to have you join the MAC alumni family. Well done.
Thank you, Tej. I would now like to invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver the President's address.
Madam Chancellor, distinguished colleagues, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Convocation, one often points out on occasions like this, is a communal event, a calling together of the different members and constituencies of the university family for the purpose of celebrating both individual achievements and our shared vision and mission. In a public institution like McMaster, where the education provided to students is very clearly understood to be both an individual and a social benefit, speakers like myself tend to address themselves to the balance all of you, our graduates, are expected to strike in the lives you will live beyond today's ceremony. In one form or other, the advice you're typically given is this: seek personal fulfillment and success, but never forget your obligation also to serve the greater good. Now, in such a context, you're unlikely to hear anyone celebrating the virtues of ambition, a human attribute our culture on the whole regards with suspicion, because we associate it with selfish, indeed sometimes anti-social attitudes. We talk, for example, negatively of someone displaying naked ambition, meaning ambition unmediated, uncontrolled, not linked to a purpose beyond itself. This is the kind of ambition Shakespeare was thinking about in his play Macbeth. I expect many of you know the plot to that tragedy. Macbeth is a Scottish general whose ambition is kindled by a group of witches who predict he will one day become King of Scotland. He becomes consumed with ambition, plots to murder the king, and pondering that course of action, utters these famous lines: "I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other side." My daughter, who's now in her 30s, has spent her life riding horses, so I'm well trained to identify this as an equestrian metaphor. A rider, properly in control of their horse, pricks the sides of the animal with their spurs to initiate a jump. The point of Macbeth's surprisingly candid observation is that there is no particular goal spurring him on, nothing other than vaulting ambition, as he calls it, or the desire simply to jump with no regard for the point of doing it. His, in other words, is selfish or uncontrolled ambition, which he acknowledges gets easily out of control. It o'erleaps itself and can end in confusion or disaster, as indeed it did for our unfortunate Scottish pretender, who in one famous film version at least wound up with his head on a spike as a lesson to others. That's why people are wary of making ambition a theme for convocation speeches. At the same time, though, it is important to acknowledge that ambition in some form must play an important role in the work of universities and in the lives of the people who comprise them, whether students, faculty, staff, or alumni. For example, you're all here today celebrating your graduation because you have aspired to this achievement. Each of you knows how much hard work has brought you here, and I hope you're right now experiencing the pleasure of personal ambitions legitimately fulfilled. If you're not quite sure what comes next in your life, that's fine and understandable, and certainly it is not an indication that your ambition has o'erleapt itself. The desire for knowledge and enlightenment and personal development is always a sufficient spur to action. It is ambition of a very pure and admirable kind. But many of you have greater and more concrete ambitions than this, I know. That is one of the things that make universities such wonderful places to work. While they exist, in a sense, because of ambition, because of our determination to know and understand our world, they nourish our imaginations and they fuel our greater aspirations. And by doing that, they prompt us to identify even more challenging goals for ourselves and for our society at large. Universities are places, in other words, in which the innocent and not so innocent ambition of individuals can and should be channeled for the betterment of our society and our world. In 1918, the British philosopher Bertrand Russell, for whose archives, as some of you may know, McMaster provides a home, was about to be imprisoned for his pacifist activities. Pondering proposed roads to freedom, he wrote this, a longish quote. "The great majority of men and women in ordinary times pass through life without ever contemplating or criticizing either their own conditions or those of the world at large. A certain percentage, guided by personal ambition, make the effort of thought and will which is necessary to place themselves among the more fortunate members of the community. But very few among these are seriously concerned to secure for all the advantages which they seek for themselves. It is only a few rare and exceptional men and women who have that kind of love toward mankind at large that makes them unable to endure patiently the general mass of evil and suffering, regardless of any relation it may have to their own lives." So in this passage, Russell admirably describes the way in which that always slightly ambivalent thing, personal ambition, is transmogrified in some people into unambiguous good. As some seek to secure for all the advantages which they seek for themselves, ambition for the self turns into ambition for the good of society. Speaking almost exactly 12 years ago at Northwestern University's Convocation, an occasion very similar to this one, Barack Obama remarked on a certain poverty in ambition for the self, because paradoxically, it asks too little of the self. And this is what Obama said. "It is only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential." Obama's point was partly that personal ambition is not necessarily incompatible with an altruistic social vision. Indeed, that the latter is frequently an extension and even a fulfillment of the former. All of this is to acknowledge that while our society is nervous about ambition, as well it should be, given recent developments on the world stage, humanity will go nowhere without ambition, and we must continually find positive and constructive ways to stimulate it, to articulate it, and to direct it. As graduates of McMaster, you are the beneficiaries of 130 years of positive ambition. What an effort of thought and will went into the opening of the medical school here at McMaster in 1970, the construction of the McMaster nuclear reactor in 1957, the establishment of the McMaster Museum of Art, the invention on our campus of problem-based learning, the founding of numerous world-class McMaster research institutes, not to mention the science and art of discovery as practiced in labs and classrooms across the campus every day. The Bertrand Russell archive, which I mentioned a short while ago, is also evidence of the ambitious spirit that seems always to have been at work at McMaster. That the papers of this major British figure would end up in Hamilton, Ontario in 1968 must have seemed unimaginable to most people at the time, indeed particularly unimaginable to people in Britain. Except it was not unimaginable to Dr. Will Reedy, the librarian at McMaster, and to my predecessor, Dr. Harry Thode, both of whom had the highest possible aspirations for McMaster as a center of scholarship. And they made it their goal to bring the Bertrand Russell archives here. This year, McMaster has been acknowledged as the most research-intensive university in Canada. For the second year in a row, we are a finalist institution for the Global Teaching Excellence Award offered by the Higher Education Academy and Times Higher Education in London. McMaster rose to 66th place in the academic ranking of world universities and was up 35 places at 78th position in the Times Higher Education World Rankings. Given that there are more than 18,000 universities in the world, that means that you are graduating from an institution in the top 0.5% globally. You could not have made it here without ambition, and McMaster could not have achieved that kind of standing without generations of effort, thought, and will, and a determination to pursue and to achieve the very highest goals possible. Anyone who's walked across the McMaster campus during the past year will know the goal on which we have most recently focused our ambition: the achievement of a brighter world through education, research, and engagement with our community, whether you define community locally or globally. Now, in many ways, there is nothing new about this as the focus of McMaster's aspirations. Ever since our founding in 1887, the mission of this university has been to serve society by contributing to the advancement and application of cutting-edge science, by deepening our understanding of society and culture, and by fostering and celebrating creativity. Pursuing the highest possible standards in each of those areas is what has brought us to our current standing in Canada and in the world. But is the pursuit of excellence in and for itself a sufficient justification for the investment which society makes in institutions like ours? To some extent it is, or must be. But if we go back to that passage from Macbeth, we will remember that there are certain dangers in a self-justifying, vaulting ambition. What was missing in the case of Macbeth's ambition was a spur to prick the intent, a motive, an incentive, a clearly articulated goal. Those brighter world banners everywhere to be seen on our campus today are intended to remind us that all the work that goes on in the university, teaching, learning, research, creation, innovation, is ultimately done in service of a goal. And that goal is the realization of a world that is healthier, happier, more just and equitable, more peaceful, better informed, better at balancing human needs with those of the planet, and richly creative. The university is in it, as they say, for the long haul, because it is obvious that such a goal will not be easily or quickly achieved. Great scientific discoveries take time and patience, as does the work to explore and develop potential applications for such discoveries for positive societal benefit. So the pursuit of human and societal health and well-being is a long-term investment. The positive ambition which drives the university is in that sense open-ended. It is an energetic and relentless pursuit of answers to the questions we pose for ourselves and of solutions to the problems that impede human advancement. As graduates of McMaster, you are part of that ambition. Indeed, you are one of the most important ways in which our desire for a brighter world can be realized. Your natural talents and energy, combined with the skills and disciplines acquired during your studies, make you powerful agents for positive change. You must have confidence in that, believing, as Marie Curie wrote, that you are gifted for something and that this thing, at whatever cost, must be attained. My hope is that you will use this power, each in your own way and in your individual lives, in service to a properly ambitious vision for the world you will want to inhabit. And I hope that finding the place in that vision for your personal aspirations will also bring you great joy and satisfaction. We're immensely proud of you, have great expectations for your future success, and wish you the very best. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to the class of 2018. As a fellow McMaster alumna, I'm looking forward to seeing where you all go from here. You've gotten a wonderful group of wishes for your future, and I just want to do a little backward looking, because I graduated with an MBA almost close to 50 years ago. And there are only two things that I can say that I look back for was worth every penny of my MBA education. The first was an ability to think clearly and analytically about issues. They taught me skills, and I desperately needed those to get a job. But since I learned my analytical skills on a slide rule, I think you can figure out how quickly that became obsolete. But the way of thinking never became an issue, and in fact was what held me through and true to the core all the way through my career. And it's something that I hope that all of you have picked up here, because it stands you in far better stead in the long run than the individual skills you pick up at any given moment. And the second is to come back to essentially Mr. Sandhu's invitation for you to join the Alumni Association. Like most of my classmates, we ignored our school as we were entering our career. And on our 25th reunion, a number of us turned up at the business school. And we sat in the bar, as we always used to, and said, well, do you remember so-and-so and what happened? And at the end of about an hour, somebody said, I'd forgotten how much we liked each other. And surely there's a way that some of us can get together. And for the past 30 years, every 2 to 3 years, 20 to 40 of us get together to remember. And you realize how deep those relationships that you build were. You can reconnect at any time. And we find now, as people retire, more and more reconnecting. But because we shared the same experience, the friendships are very deep. And I hope that many of you have the opportunity to enjoy that kind of friendship as well. So on that note, I really just want to wish all of you, as the people have before me, all the best in your future career, and I hope that all of you are able to live your dreams. Best wishes to you all. Now, in closing, I have a few final announcements. A reception will be held for the graduates and their guests in Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room C, immediately following the ceremony. Finally, I would ask that you please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Please join now in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.
King.